beautiful people, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, hi, my name is Kira. So for the last 2 or 3 videos, I did say that I was going on a very exciting trip. I was actually in Kruger National Park for 10 days with people that I didn't know on a plant ecology course. If you're new, then you won't know, but last year I finished my honors course in animal, plant, and environmental sciences, and this year I decided to take a gap year to see if I want to go ahead and study further and get my master's, or if I want to get a job. And if I do want to get a job, what kind of job do I want? Because my degree was quite wide. I had a ton of topics as per the name of it being animal, plant, and environmental sciences. And so I wanted to basically use the year to research a little bit more about the jobs available, try and maybe shadow if I can, or just try and grab any opportunity I can to learn a bit more and get to know myself and what I like a lot more with what I have studied. So at the end of January, a classmate of mine got a flyer basically from her supervisor, put it on our honors WhatsApp group for everyone to see. And basically this flyer was saying that this German university called Bayreuth University is hosting a vegetation ecology course for 10 days in Kruger National Park, and that they're encouraging some South African students to basically also apply, as they'd like to kind of also give South African students an opportunity to learn about the ecology at their doorstep. This was a course that was very different from anything else in my university degree. And so that, first of all, really intrigued me. And then second of all, I'm always interested in meeting new people. Although I've never been away from my family before, or away from people that I know. So being on a trip with 10 strangers definitely was a bit daunting, but also exciting. And then the third thing that really interested me is that I've always wanted to go to Kruger National Park. Especially in the last 3 or 4 years, I've been begging my parents and my sister, saying, you know what, maybe for the December holidays or something, we should plan, like, even if it's 3 or 4 day trip to Kruger. I said, you know what, we are South African, we have such a beautiful park and something that South Africa is known for right at our arm's reach, and we've never been. And especially for me, like, I learn about Kruger all the time theoretically in my degrees, and I've just basically always wanted to go, especially for the wildlife. But my mom and my sister are not so much nature enthusiasts. My sister, first of all, has terrible allergies, like just being at home, she gets like a stuffy nose and whatnot. So I can just imagine her with all the vegetation and the open area that's around in the park. And on top of that, they are not really into reptiles and insects and things like that. Obviously those kinds of things always turned them off, not just of Kruger, but like any kind of national park or wildlife setting. And so I decided to basically go on a trip with 10 strangers to a place that I've never been to, and it turned out to be one of the best experiences of my life. I just thought that I would basically do a little introduction before we get into the video. But without further ado, here is what I got up to for the 10 days in Kruger National Park, South Africa. So our trip was actually delayed by 5 hours because of people's flights being delayed and things like that. But we had a mix of both terrible and great weather on our trip. Here you saw we stopped at a place called Alzu, where they have tons of different animals such as rhinos and different bucks, etc. But because of the bad weather, we couldn't really see much. But thereafter, there was sunshine almost the entire way through. We saw so many beautiful landscapes. The geographer in me was really excited at everything. But another interesting thing is I've never been this way to Mpumalanga, which is where we were heading to. And I didn't know this is what banana plantations look like. And it was on the side of the road almost the whole way through towards the end of the trip. We ended up only getting there at about 8 p.m., which was quite late, but in a way it was a blessing because we actually didn't really get to go on evening drives just for different reasons. But on our way there, we saw a wild dog and we saw a huge pack of hyenas, which you'll see just now. Excuse my poor quality for these next few clips. It was the evening And also there isn't obviously that much artificial lighting in Kruger National Park, but this was just amazing to see the pack of hyenas. A thing I noticed about the Kruger is that most of the insects were a lot bigger and they looked a lot healthier, if that makes sense. But this was basically the facility where we conducted our lectures, presentations, labs, etc. And we got there when it was actually load shedding, which is basically a routine cut of electricity in South Africa. And a huge thing was the starry skies, which is something I don't really get to see living in the city of Johannesburg. We had lovely caterers for our trip and they made gluten-free options for almost everything, which really made me feel included when I could not have certain things. This was the view outside of our staying area, and we got to see great things like frogs and monkeys and cool insects. Each day we head out at a game drive at about 7 o'clock in the morning, and on this particular trip, one of the first things we got to see is a group or a herd of buffalo, which was quite amazing and one of the first big 5 animals I got to see. Our first activity was actually doing a hike, and we did a lesson up there before going further down the slope of the park and looking at different flowers, which you can see here, obviously it being a vegetation course, but we also worked with a ton of trees and we basically just got introduced to the course. And we also got lovely animals and insects during our field trips and field exercises, which was really cool. And as I said, okay, this is a spider, but as I said, the insects in Kruger National Park are so much more bigger and healthier looking. There's probably more ecology and science to that, but I'm not going to go into too much detail. But after we were done with our work on this particular day, we went on a hour-long game drive to a place called Chikwane, and we saw this group of monkeys, and the way this mother held its child was just, what do you call a little monkey? I actually don't know, but it was just so cute to see. You can see it's holding its baby here, and it was just so wonderful to see like this baby being carried by its mom in such a natural setting. Also, just during our stay, it actually happened to be just after huge floods took place within different places in Kruger National Park, and so a ton of the rivers we went past were full, like what you can see here, and they had rapids, but it was just still so beautiful to see. Obviously some people had to be evacuated and some people had to cut vacations short, etc., which isn't really a great thing, but thankfully our trip fell just in between the 2 flooding periods that happened in February and March of this year. Giraffes were seen in abundance during this trip, which was again amazing because those aren't really everyday animals or easy animals to spot outside of a wildlife setting, and so you'll see a ton of videos and pictures of giraffes. And if you didn't know, elephants are actually my favorite animal. I have been obsessed with them ever since I was a little girl, and I have like elephants all over my room. Everyone that knows me knows I'm obsessed with them. I just love how they look, and also they are just amazing creatures. If you read up about them, you'll find out how smart and intuitive they are. But yeah, this was also a highlight of my trip, basically getting to see so many elephants basically everywhere I went, and also seeing a lot of calves, which is quite different from if I had to go to other sanctuaries and things like that. Warthogs were also seen quite a lot, especially when we were driving to our field, or if we were stopping at a field excursion site. And this was also quite a lovely thing for our first actual day here. We saw a whole herd of elephants basically grazing on either side of the road. I don't even know how many there were, but I think there was probably more than 10, which were even in the distance, and probably my camera didn't pick up. Soon after we left the place we drove to and we were on our way back, we experienced a huge storm. Not too much lightning and thunder, just really heavy rains, but all of us in the game drive truck decided to not sacrifice our sightings and rather get wet on either side of the vehicle. And it turned out to be worth it, because no less than 10 minutes later we ended up having bright sunny skies, and also we would have missed the leopard back tortoise, which you just saw now. When we ended up getting back, we all went to this Kruger main shopping area, and this place had everything you need, from medication and snacks to souvenirs and clothing. And then I really did want to show you guys a little bit of the campus we stayed in. This is actually the Kruger Science Leadership Institute campus. I think that's the full name. If not, I'll put the name here. But this building is quite amazing. This building where we had our lectures and labs was actually designed to have net zero carbon emissions and to be as eco-friendly as possible by using eco-friendly materials, being solar powered, etc. It was really a sight to behold.